Hey everybody, welcome to the vlog. Hey man, we got some treats for you tonight. We're going to be picking peas and some butter beans. I'm going to show you how to shell them. We're going to be putting them up. It is time to reap our harvest. Y'all stay tuned. Let me show you what I planted was some pink eye purple hull. We call them purple hull because every now and again the hull itself will become purple. We call it pink eye because when you open these up, you see that eye on that pea. You see that? It's pink. So we call them a pink eye purple hull pea. So we're back inside the homestead kitchen here, and the rain run us back in. So we just did get back inside before we got soaked. But we did manage to pick about a 5-gallon bucket full of peas. Now, most people watching have had some experience of with their grandma or grandpa sitting on the front porch or in the living room or in the kitchen or something shelling peas. Everybody would get them a big old bowl. As a matter of fact, this bowl right here. This bowl right here was the bowl that my grandmother used to shell peas in. So it's a prized possession of mine. So what my grandma would do, she would be out in the field and would get peas. She'd reach into a 5-gallon bucket like this, put these in her pot or her bowl. She'd sit down, put the bowl in her lap, and she would sit there and she'd run that down like that. See that? She'd run that down like that, throw that in the trash, and would use, and I would be right there beside her, and we'd shell peas. We'd just run down that all day long to the point that your thumbs would be green, and then you reach in there and you grab that and you pull it down. You discard the shell, you pick up another one, and you go again. Now, there is nothing more therapeutic than to sit down and shell peas. If you're on anxiety medication because you can't calm down, there's nothing better to help calm a man or a woman than to sit down and shell peas. I still sit down and shell peas. It's soothing. But I produce so many peas, okay, that there's no way I can sit down and shell the amount of peas that I produce. So what I've done is I've got this baby right here. Now you may look at that and say, what in the world is that? That's a pea sheller. That's a pea sheller. So when I've got a lot of peas, and I've got a lot of peas coming in, what I'll do is I've got this little aluminum container. I'll take this little aluminum container, I slide it right in there like that right there. I just slide it right in that hole. Now, what this thing is, it's driven by electricity. It's belt driven, so there's a motor back here. See that? You plug this in, and as soon as you plug it in, it starts. And it turns this belt, and it turns these gears. And what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna take a pea, and I'm gonna put it in here, and these wheels that turn, see this belt drives like this. When this thing turns, it's gonna grab this pea, and it's gonna pull it, and the pea hull is going to drop right in this trash can, but the peas are going to be in this. Okay? Now, again, I found this in an old feed and seed store. It was on the top shelf, had spider webs all over it and dust. And I said, is that for sale? He said, yeah. He said, I can't sell it. He says, if you'll buy it, I'll sell it to you for half off. I said, that sounds like a deal. So I bought it and I've worn this thing out. High-tech redneck, okay? So now look, there's no way in a million years that I would have been able to shell those peas that fast by hand. Impossible. When you're using a pea sheller on the inside of this, see that film in there? Landon, will that camera pick up that? Mm-hmm. See that film in there? See it's kind of slimy. Okay, see that right there? All that stuff. Well, that's all over your peas. Okay, so what I have to do is I'll take my peas from here, okay, and I'll come to the sink, right? I'll have me a colander, and I'll pour those peas in here, and then I wash them. See all that stuff? I got a spoon down there. All that stuff is coming out of those peas. All that shell, all that gook is you just wash them off, right? You just wash the peas off. All the stuff goes through the colander, right? Now look how pretty those are. And you go through there and you get your bad ones out. See, that's a bad one. I don't want that one in there, so I'm gonna take it out. But the rest of those, look how pretty those are. Look how pretty those are. You want to talk about fine eating. That's a southern delicacy of the highest order right there. Now again, you want to talk about something that's good to eat, that's it. Now, what my grandmother used to do is she would do what they call blanching. So for years that's what I do. So what is blanching? That's when you take these peas, put them in water, and you start to cook them, and you cook them about halfway, turn them off, let them cool, and then put them in Ziploc bags, date your bags, and put them in the oven. Excuse me, in the freezer after they cooled off. But a few years ago, I thought, man, that's a lot of work, because that's what I was doing. So what I did was I said, let me just clean them and go straight from here, okay, and put them in the freezer bag and zip them up. Remember, there's two different things. There's little storage bags, can't use those. Freezer bags. And then if you don't, your product will get frostbit. So I just started going straight from here into a freezer bag, dating it, making sure it's sealed good, putting it in the freezer, and guess what? It worked out great. So I don't even blanch stuff anymore as far as my peas and stuff are concerned. I put them straight in the bag, and when they're ready to be cooked, I bring them out and cook them, and they taste fabulous. After a while, what you have to do is that film, not only is it going to be in your peas, see, look at the film on that peas. Like I told you, you got to wash those off, that film in there. See that film? It's also here. See this? It's also here. So you've got to clean this off. Alright everybody, so hey, we're here at the homestead again at the kitchen table, and we're going to be talking about some things today. Of course, we're going to be showing you how to shell peas, and of course take you out in the pea patch and all those kinds of things. But I want to talk to you today about this whole process that I've been in, because I've been waiting forever for these peas to get ripe so that I could bring them in and prepare them for our meals and stuff. And so, one of the things that you learn when you plant a garden is delayed gratification. It just takes a while. I mean, you go back, most people start in February preparing their land. They get out there and they start tilling it. They have to add fertilizer or any kind of, nitrate, potash. They put all kind of stuff in their garden to prepare their garden for the seed. Then of course you got to go buy your seed, you got to go out and plant your seed, and then you got to wait for it to come up. Then of course when it starts coming up, then you got to take the time to get out there and hoe it. You got to make sure you're praying for rain, praying for sunshine. You're waiting, and then it finally gets up, starts to bloom. You finally get all of your produce in, and then then it takes a while to, you got to shell all the peas, you got to clean them, you got to put them in freezer bags, and you got to store them. Even when you cook them, it takes forever, right? I mean, for those of you that don't know, when you bring in fresh peas out of the garden, it's not like, opening up a can of vegetables from your cupboard, emptying them in, and clean them and putting them in water and heating them up, and it's ready to eat in 5 minutes. No. When you take peas in out of the garden and they're fresh like that, it takes at least 3 hours to cook them, to get them soft, for the taste to mature, to make sure you're putting plenty of salt, plenty of olive oil, plenty of seasoning in them, and it just takes a while, and it's a long process. And in our culture, we don't know what delayed gratification is. We got no idea. All we know is we want it, and we want it right now. That's most of our culture right now. A lot of people in the church are that way. And our culture's just ruined us in that. Even retail businesses have done that. You think some of the slogans that businesses have in America right now, like for example, Burger King. What's Burger King's slogan? We want it our way, right away. I want what I want, and I want it right now. Well, there's no delayed gratification in that. It's all about what you want and how quick you can get it and how much of it you want. You think about Walmart, same way. You go into Walmart and you get into a dispute over price, they'll tell you the customer is always right. The customer is always right. Well, as well as I do, that ruins people. No, we don't need to be telling people that they're always right. We need to let people know from time to time, no, you're wrong. You need to be told you're wrong. There's such a thing as right and wrong. And so we got this whole thing that we're fighting against, and in the Bible, these things are called the flesh. The flesh. We war against that. Our flesh wants what it wants, and it wants it right now. But the thing about it is if you feed the flesh, let me tell you, that thing's a monster. It will devour you. It will devour you. And so you've got to do your best. I've got to do my best to feed the spirit, starve the flesh that wants what it wants right now. Practice delayed gratification, because I'm here to tell you, and you know this down deep in your heart to be true. It's the good things that if you'll just wait them out, the things that mean the most, that matter the most, takes a while. Same way with food. Listen, you can go into your freezer and pull out some chicken nuggets out of the freezer, put them on a plate, put them in the microwave, and in about 1 minute you're having something that you got to conceal in either ketchup or mustard, because you can't stand the taste of them by themselves. That's the bottom line on chicken nuggets. So, y'all know that's true. But if you want a good meal, it takes a while. It takes a while. You gotta take the time. This instant stuff, no, it takes a while. Good things take a while. It takes a while for us to become the believer that God wants us to have. It takes a while. So you got to starve the flesh out. You got to be careful. We got to get out of this stuff. We got to have it right now, because delayed gratification is where it's at. Delayed gratification is where it's at. And you take a look at the scriptures. The Bible is clear about the flesh. And if you get what you want right now, it will destroy you, and it's going to show up. So for example, in Galatians 5, starting off in verse 19, it says this: the acts of the flesh are obvious. In other words, you're not going to hide them. You've got people in your family, I've got people in my family, that as soon as they start living hard, it shows up on their body. When they start smoking, it shows up on their face. When they start drinking, it shows up in their eyes. And then listen, the human body is not designed and built to live according to the flesh. It will destroy itself. It just does. And nobody's got to tell me if they do drugs. I can see it on them. Why? Because the acts of the flesh are obvious. Nobody's got to tell me that they drink too much. I can look at them. I can tell. I can see. It's there. It's there. It shows up. So the Bible says the acts of the flesh are obvious. Sexual immorality, impurity, debauchery, goes on idolatry, witchcraft, hatred, discord, jealousy, fits of rage. Everybody, boy, I tell you, everybody's worked up now. They just, boy, they just, where's all this coming from? The flesh. Selfish ambition, dissensions, factions, goes on to say envy, drunkenness, orgies, all alike, what I've told you. Now listen, here comes the rebuke. Those who live like this will not inherit the kingdom of God. Whoa, that's strong words. So the believer's not supposed to act like that. We're supposed to starve that stuff out of us. What we're supposed to do is, the very next verses say, but the fruit of the Spirit is, check this out, love, joy, peace, forbearance, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. So those are what the believer's supposed to do. We're not supposed to be catering to the flesh at all occasions. No. What we're supposed to be doing is starving that thing, because if we give it just a little, and y'all know this to be the case, you give the flesh just a little bit, its appetite is insatisfiable. You cannot satisfy it. It wants what it wants, and it wants it right now. But listen, if you live the old way, you understand and learn. It takes a while. You just got to just wait it out. It's coming. God's got good things coming. You just got to wait. We got some peas. We've been waiting on these things for months. They're coming. We got okra. Been waiting for it for months. It's coming. Butter beans out there. Been waiting on them for months. It's coming. You just got to just take your time. So, remember that. Good things come to those who wait. Let's chill out. Starve the flesh. Feed the spirit. Get in the kitchen, make you some peas, make you some of them biscuits to go along with it, cook you some deer meat. Hey, it's God's grocery store. Good things and good times are going to come our way. Hey, be blessed. Hope you enjoyed the devotional for our Wednesday night vlog. And hey, get out in that garden. Let's get on it. Let's see what you got. God bless you. You take care. So long. Well, I'm just here to tell you, before we even start this Bible study, Landon, would you look right here? Roll Tide, son. Roll Tide. Hey, I mean, it is what it is.
Oh, we're going to do this Bible study.
Yeah, we're going to do this Bible study after we get the priorities, the stuff straightened out here. And this is, you know, roll tide roll, okay?
Done today.
Can we maybe close that blind behind you? It backlights you too much.
Yeah. I pulled a muscle in my back.
Oh.
And it is.
Yeah, that's better.
It's delicate. I'm delicate.
Okay. Well, he's delicate.
Well, listen, I picked up a very heavy piece of farm equipment the other day.
You're supposed to lift with your legs, not your back.
Well, right, but see, when you're a beast like I am, you just grab it and manhandle it.
You just do it, and
right.
then you break.
Right, and then you break, and then you whine about it. You know?